Yes, so in today's class, what we are going to try is basically it's a best practice. Okay. So once we create a project, Mule project from our API specification, right? So we'll get a application where we'll be having flows and everything will be embedded in one file, right? We have seen that. Now, what we wanted to do here, we want to apply the best practices. First is structure our application properly. Okay, structure our app properly. Second thing, we'll make this app. So for example, this app I can deploy to dev environment, test environment, prod environment. So those environment specific properties, right?
Yep.
We'll externalize. Environment properties in separate in respective files. Third thing, whatever sensitive properties, right? So sensitive properties, we'll keep it in encryption. So we'll encrypt. So sensitive properties should be secured. Okay, we'll see how we can do this. Okay. And fourth, in sensitive properties section itself, runtime properties, okay, we'll pass some runtime properties. And if properties are there in application, we'll apply the encryption. Okay. If properties which I am passing during runtime, those has to be masked. So only whoever is entering the property, that I can see that property only once. Okay, should be masked. For structuring the app is nothing but what we'll do. For entry point, we'll keep an interface file. For implementation, we'll keep implementation file. Interface, implementation. For error handling, we'll have separate file. For properties, we'll have anyway separate file. For health check, we'll create a separate flow. So these are the best practices one should have in their app. Interface separately, implementation separately, in error handle separately, and health check has to be there in your apps. Okay. So we are going to see all these things in today's session. Okay, one by one. Let's go ahead with our Anypoint Studio and let's move on to our now we have created one flow, if you remember, SBI Bank REST API. Okay, so let's go ahead and open that flow. I'll say close other flows. I don't want. Let it load properly. Okay. Now, if you look at this is what I was talking about. We'll get everything in one file. This is called, no modularization issue, no fragmentation, nothing. Okay, so here we have everything in single file. Now we are going to fragment this file. So let's go ahead first one by one. What we'll do. So here in this flow, I'm not going to have any implementation. Right now, if you look at this transform activity, this is implementation, correct? What we'll do, we'll extract to a separate flow. Okay. Go ahead and we'll give a name. So we can extract this file flow in a separate file or in the same file. I don't want to keep it in same file. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a separate file in this folder itself. We'll say new and new configuration file. Okay, mule configuration file. Okay, and we'll give a name. Implementation. Okay. Now I have implementation.xml. I don't have anything right now here. So we'll go ahead and all the implementations we have here. Okay, what we'll do? We'll say extract. So here I'll be having only flow reference. This is called interface. Okay, so what? Get accounts, right? So I'll give a name, get accounts, and it's asking me where you want to, in current or in implementation file. I'll say go ahead and keep it in implementation file. See here, now I'll be having only flow reference here, no implementation at all. I'll go to implementation file and see now I have get accounts flow here. Now you can have get account specific business logic over here. You can create a dedicated file for each implementation. It's up to you. In our SBI bank API, if you remember, we had two resources, account and customer.
Account custom.
For accounts,
Customer.
we can have separate file. For customer, we can have separate file. So in future, if you want to fix something, right, we have dedicated files. You can go ahead and simply look at customer. If you have customer specific issues, if you have account specific issues, you can come to account specific file. Right now, we'll extract in the same implementation.xml and we'll keep. So now if I go here one by one, I'll do that. So quickly I'll go ahead here, and this is get customers, right? So extract. This is a shortcut. You can create flow reference here, and then you can copy this code, paste it there, and you can have that approach. But I don't want to do that. We have approach here to extract. Okay. So I'll say get customers where you want, in the current file or implementation. I want in implementation file. Go ahead and do that job. So there is a limitation. If I have two activities here, let's say, okay, and if you want to extract these two activities, that option also there. Okay. So go ahead now. This is create accounts, right? Flow, create accounts in the implementation file. This one is
Create customer.
Create customers, right? Send it to
Implementation.
okay. Now if you see this file, very clean, right? Forget about this error handling right now. We are not keeping that here. Okay, so we're not worried about this right now. So now if you see, I don't have any implementation here. I have only routing. Okay, so from here, it will route to this flow, and inside this flow, I have flow reference. Now I can go to implementation.xml file. I have dedicated flows over here. See, get customer, get accounts, create customer, create accounts. Now I can have a business specific logic over here in these flows. Clear? So we are creating one flow for one responsibility. Okay. Now let's go ahead. Now, if you remember here in this interface file, now there are two things embedded. One is error handling. And if you go to the global elements, this configuration is also embedded over here. In tomorrow, if I wanted to create multiple flows, multiple configurations, wherever I'm doing those configurations, in that mule configuration file, global elements, those elements will be created. I don't want to keep those in multiple files. What I'll do, I'll go ahead. Let's first save it. Okay. And we have extracted, right? Let's run this flow and see whatever we extracted, there are no errors. So I'll simply say here, go ahead and run this project. So we keep on making changes and keep on testing it. Okay. So whatever fragmentation we are doing, that is okay without any errors. Okay. So it will deploy it on our local server. We are waiting for the deployment. Okay. So once this is done, we are okay to move. You can see that it's deployed successfully. If you go open console, we'll be able to see the exact console just like we had in our Exchange, we had in our design center. Don't you think this is exactly similar to that? See, post, get.
Yes.
And this console is coming from which flow? It's coming from this SBI REST API console flow. When you're source controlling, right, we don't need this. We'll delete this because this is not needed at all. This is for just to test it here. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's now, what I am going to do is, let's go ahead and copy this all configuration, and we'll create a separate file for this, and we call it global.xml. Global XML automatically pick it up, the extension, and global.xml will go ahead and we'll only keep the configurations. Okay. So whenever in future you want to create any configuration, first go to the global.xml, create that configuration. That configuration will be available for all the flows in all the files in your application. So we are creating common global.xml for configurations. Okay. So here we'll go ahead and we'll say, keep a space here. Let's create a space first. What we'll do here, so there is a empty tag. We'll create a space. Let's go to the, we'll go to the configuration here. And in configuration, we'll copy this. So what we have HTTP listener, we have API kit, and we have auto discovery. Before that, let's format it, Control A, Control Shift F. You can see it's formatted. Control A, Control Shift F. Now it's in better shape now. So these are my global configurations. I cut it from here, cut, go to global.xml, paste it here, Control V. It will ask you, hey, do I need to generate document ID? You say yes. So every time you'll get a unique document ID over here. Okay. Just save everything. Save this one.
Getting error. Okay.
Yeah, everything will get fixed. Okay.
Okay.
Because that file was not saved, right? And we have copy pasted here. It was checking in the SBI API file also that is there. And now you're creating global.xml that with the same name. We have what happened. Now you see, if you close it, open it again, no errors. See, it takes some time to fix those. Now, in my flow, there are no, in this implementation, no configuration. So I have kept a separate file for configuration itself. Okay, you can give, maybe whatever name you want, global configuration.xml kind of stuff. I just kept it global. Okay.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and stop it. I don't want right now to run it. So now in our mule flow, if you see here, we have all this error handling. Okay. I don't want this error handling over here. What I'll do, I'll create a global error handler, and inside that we'll keep our all error handling. And you know that we have seen that, right? So we'll say exception handling, okay, or exceptions, whatever we exceptions, separate file. Now in exceptions file, what we'll do, we'll create first a global error handler. Copy this, paste it here, and we'll name it as a global error handler. Best practice, give file names, flow names as camel case. Okay.
Yep.
File names we can keep on, we can use a kebab case also, just like see here. Automatically our MuleSoft project creates this file, SBI-mag. So kebab
Yeah.
case, camel case are allowed for as a best practice. Okay, now under this, what we'll do, we'll go to the configuration here. Again, here in global, okay, so the spelling is wrong. It has to be proper. Global error handler. Okay, correct. Yeah, save everything. I saved it now. Under global error handler, I'll be adding my code. Okay, so now if I go to my you can hit this guy and you can go to the specific code in XML. Okay, it will take the cursor on that line. So you can see here error handler is there. Okay, now we are going to delete this error handler from here. So we'll copy all this stuff from here. This one, it's actually huge. Okay, it will be having a lot of stuff here. So till here, right? So we are going to copy this guy, and under this flow also we have one more error handler. So we are going to copy all these things. Okay, so first let's copy this guy. So I'll create a space over here little bit, and I'll create a space over here because I want to copy these guys. Okay, Control C. I'll go to exception here, and we need to have this empty right now, right? Let's say error handler. Okay. Inside this tags, we'll paste our code. Okay. Now, Control A, Control Shift F. It's configured. Now let's go ahead and copy the other part. So now I'll delete it from here. So I don't want this error handler over here. delete it. Okay. Other flow, let's go here and copy from here. On error propagate this part, control X and delete this error handler. Hope you are getting what I'm trying to do here, right? I'm cleaning the code.
Yep,
And I'm
I'm
putting,
getting it. But once we done, I have one question then.
yes. Control V, Control A, Control Shift. Save everything. So now what we have done from
Control
the,
A, Control Shift, Control F, right?
yeah. So Control A, select everything. Control Shift F for formatting.
Shift F.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you want to format, Control Shift F.
Yeah, definitely, we need that in XML format.
Yeah.
Proper. Okay. Indentation.
Yeah. So now you see all the errors are coming over here. Now, if you see this file, if I go to the mule flow, no error handling here. Okay. No error handling. So now this flow should use that global error handler, right? What should I do? I need to go to global.xml.
We
I need
need
to go to create here. Global configuration. Under global configuration, I need to make this entry. Clear?
Yep.
This we already discussed. That's the reason I took error handling section, session before this. Save everything. Now let's final touch. Okay, let's run one more time. And whatever segregation or splitting or modularization or fragmentation, whatever word you want to use, we use it. And now, but I have now very clean code. Okay. Interface doesn't have any business logic. Implementation.xml only has business logic. Global.xml has all the configurations. Exception.xml has all the errors.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's go ahead and run final run, and then we'll add the environment specific properties. Let's run it again. Since we made changes, we have added new files. We need to rerun the process.
Okay. So my question is,
Yes.
When we want to ignore the error and continue with the activity, so we cannot do that in global, right? It will
We
go
can do
back
that
to the
in so activity level. You need to use try and go ahead.
try.
Yeah.
Yep. So if we have used that, it will not go to the global.
No. It will go to global. Okay. So yesterday we have discussed this, right? What I have mentioned. So
It will check first.
yeah. So this is, let's say, flow. Okay. This is, let's say, flow. Okay. And in this section, if this section is empty, then only it goes to the global error handler.
Global. Yep.
Doesn't mean activity level you have error handling. Okay. This is your processor, let's say, right? This is activity level.
Yeah.
If you have activity level, doesn't matter. Only this section will be checked.
Flow level.
Okay.
Only flow level will be checked, right?
Yeah. Flow level will be checked. Activity level you can have.
Okay.
Okay. So here you can have a try and on error continue. This combination you can have try plus
Yep.
error
I
continue.
got it. Yeah.
Right.
That will live. Okay.
Yeah. For other activities, if there are errors, it will still go to global error handler. Only for this activity, it won't go to global error handlers. Only for this activity.
Okay.
If you are not handling here, come again. Okay. So if we have a, let's talk about this activity. Now you have try plus on error propagate. On error propagate. That means after this activity, whatever activity you have, that activity is not going to get executed because your on error propagate, this guy will also propagate that same error. That will come to flow level error handling.
Flow level.
No error handling here, so it will go to
runtime error.
No, it will go to global error handler.
It will not go to runtime error.
No. Here empty, right? Flow level error handler is not there.
If it is there and
if it is there, then it will check here if I am handling that error. If it is not handling, it will go to mule runtime.
Okay.
I told you, right? Whatever
Yep.
is there, if it is empty, in that case, it will go to global error. If you have anything here, X, Y, Z, I don't care. Whatever you have, whether this error type is matching here or not matching, it won't go to global error handler in any case. If you have anything here.
Okay.
If it is empty, in that case, only it will go to global error handler. Keep that in mind.
Yeah. So, yep. So I was having question on this. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely got it now.
Okay, clear. Yeah, that has to be very clear. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at our flow. It's deployed successfully. Have a look at it. Okay, console is loading properly. That means it's working perfectly fine. If I go to get here and if I say try it, okay, we'll go ahead and there is something. So service not available. Yeah, this is expected. Why? Because right now in our flow, if you remember, we have API auto discovery. If I delete this, it will work. Okay. So if you want to test it locally, you need to go ahead and disable this guy, because this is API auto discovery. It's trying to connect to that. If you see the value, right? This is the value. But right now this is not available in my
Local.
right. Yeah. So if you delete this and run this, yeah, that will work. Okay. So right now that is not our intention. Our intention is whether our code is getting deployed successfully or not, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Or even if you want to try it, yeah, we'll go ahead and try it. Let's save this, stop it, and we'll work on some other part and we'll keep this guy for run. Okay, save everything from the global element. I have deleted that, and let's go to the main flow and run this, and we'll keep it for run. Okay. Now, so what we have done, we have modularized our code. Okay, now we can create this as a template and we can publish it to our exchange. So next time, if somebody wants to create a new project, right? They should not go ahead and again keep on doing same thing, right? Unnecessary wasting of time, right? So whatever basic template is required to create a mule project, we can create that template and publish it to the exchange. So people can create a project from that template. You can go ahead, there is an option to create project from template. Okay, so they will get basic skeleton where exception.xml file will be there, global.xml file will be there, implementation.xml file will be there, and then your interface. So we'll rename this file now. So go to the refactor, rename, and you can give api.xml or interface.xml. It's up to you. Interface.xml. Okay, save. Okay, you can see that interface.xml, implementation.xml, global.xml, exception.xml. Okay. Now, what we are going to do now, we are going to keep so now in implementation, let's say here, while creating customer, while creating, accounts, we are using database. Okay, so here we are inserting the data. Now what we'll do, we'll go ahead and have the properties, right? So this database for dev environment will be different, for test environment will be different, for prod environment will be different, right? So we'll create a properties file. So go to your main resources folder here. So whatever is required to run our project, we'll keep those stuff over here. So we'll create a folder here. So we'll say new, create folder, and we'll keep all those properties over here. Either you can say property folder or config folder. I'll say config folder. Go ahead, under main resources folder, I have created config folder. Under config folder, I'll go ahead and I'll create some files. Now these files will be normal files, okay? Normal files. Now properties, we can keep it in two syntaxes, okay? So one, we can create, so I'll say dev hyphen config dot properties or YAML. Okay, both extensions are working. I'll show you the difference between the syntax. So let's create .yaml file, dev-config file. Okay, so we'll go ahead. Now see, we are getting the editor over here. Now, if let's say this is a dot properties file, so how I'll be writing? So now for database, we'll be having host, right? So let's go ahead and first let's list down what all things will be there. Host will be there, on which port it's running, DB name, right? There will be a username,
password,
and password. Correct? Host, port, DB name, username, password. These are the properties, right? Yes. So DB name, most of the time it will be same for all the environments, but port also will be same for all the environments most of the time, right? But we don't want to take any risk, so we'll keep all. But host name definitely it will be different for dev environment. Username and password will be different for dev, test, and prod.
Definitely.
Okay. Now we'll keep it like this, because in the same file we'll keep some other properties also, right? So we need to give a identifier for this. So these are belongs to DB. Database. So I'll say DB dot. So for each property, I'll give Control B, Control B, Control B, Control. Right?
Can we give the name database, and then can we separate them?
For example,
on the top of DB host, if we want to separate that, this is for database configuration. So can we write that database like name as a database, and then if we configure that for FTP, then
so
Salesforce.
So you'll be giving like this only, right? So FTP dot all the properties, SFDC dot. So you're segregating them, right?
Segregating.
Yeah.
But if I want to keep like name, can I? I'm just asking the question.
Name of your database, you are saying?
No.
You can write. You can add a comment over here. You can say comment.
Yeah.
Okay. You can add a comment. Basically, you can add a hash and comment it there and say that these properties belongs to this database. Dev database will be having separate taste, right? So that. So now
for the comment, we just need to do hash, and do we need to do anything at the end of the?
No. Only comment. Hash. Only hash.
Okay.
So the dot properties file follows the syntax. So db.host equal to, now let's say that database is running on localhost. Okay. Now the problem with this syntax is, let's say there is a space here. Okay. In localhost there is a space. Now it won't be visible.
Yeah.
And this creates a problem. Okay. So now this is the port. I'll say 3366. This is the port. Okay. DB name, I'll say development. Now this is how we give properties syntax, dot properties file syntax. Okay. And now we see, right, there is a space over here, but it's not visible. By bare eye, you cannot say that there is a problem with this localhost. See, if you select it, it won't see that. But while reading the property, it will read till here. See?
Got it, yeah.
And this will create a problem. And in debugging, this is really hard. Really hard.
Definitely.
Yeah. Now, how we can solve this? So YAML file will give different syntax. Now, look at it. DB : enter. I said colon. Why it's giving me double quotes? Colon. Okay. Now I'll give a tab and I'll say this host. I'll say colon, and now I'll give a double quote. Now see clearly.
Yep. I know the YAML format.
Right.
We need to keep the indentation. Yeah.
Yeah. So here it will give you a clear picture that there is no space here. And it actually gives a proper hierarchy, right? Under DB all the properties, under FTP all the properties, under SFTP all the properties. When you're accessing, right, you need to say DB dot like this.
Got it. Yeah.
Clear? So let's go ahead and let's see. So port, and we'll say this is actually integer, so I don't want. And then this is db. Okay, db. It uses a colon instead of equal to YAML format. I'll give double quotes here. In double quotes. Now we'll talk about username.
We need to remove one quote.
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay, so in colon, I'll say admin. Okay, I'll make cell dev hyphen admin. Okay, like that will differentiate between our test. We are mimicking right now. I don't have database. We are mimicking right now. Okay, and colon
admin.
And now here, same thing I'll write. Password is also same. Okay.
Yeah, got it.
Admin. Clearly, it will show you the error if you are not following the syntax. And same way, you can go it for FTP and SFTP.
Yeah.
Now save everything. Okay. I'll create a separate file for, so copy paste. I'll just say copy this file and paste it here itself. Paste it. Oh, I should not run it. Okay. So it's running. That's the reason it's keep on checking everything. And just
we need to stop.
Yeah. Okay. I know. Wait. Yeah, my mistake. Okay. So let's stop this. Okay, let's hope it is stopped. Okay.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Hey Alexa. Just a second. My Alexa is enabled, so unnecessary. Okay. So we are creating file for test. Okay. Let's go ahead. And if you open that, let me stop this guy first because unnecessary this guy is crying. And we paste one more file here that belongs to production. Okay, this will be production. Prod and so you can see that now we have 3 different files. Okay, but there's a problem with this. We are keeping password in a plain text. That should not be the case. Okay,
it is visible.
right? So, but let's go ahead and first test this. Okay, and then we'll fix this problem. We know that this problem, right?
Okay.
So let's go ahead and go to our. So what is wrong with this guy?
So we need to change the username and password in that, right?
Correct. So let's open the test. Here it should be test. Test. Save. If I go to prod, it should be prod. Prod. Okay. And it should not be development. It should be production.
And
this should
there
be QA. Okay, save everything. Now what? I want to access these properties in my implementation. Okay. So now let's go ahead and try to mimic this guy. And instead of sending this code, what I'll do, I'll say, boss, I'm not going to send this code. We are going to have those properties. Okay. So we'll create an object over here and we'll say, I'll just take this YAML format as it is. Control C. and go to implementation here. Control V, Control X. Okay. So now we'll access those properties here. So how to access those properties? We have here function called P in data view, and in single code, we'll pass those properties to db.host. Okay, this is how we will access those properties. So we'll copy paste this everywhere. Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V. Okay, this will be port. This will be DB name. This will be username. This will be password. Okay. Now let's see. Can I deploy this code and see? Okay. So let's save everything. I'm doing intentionally. Okay. So there has to be comma everywhere. Comma, comma, comma. Okay. Now save everything. I'm doing intentionally, right? So I'm trying to access the properties here, but I'm not telling where the properties are. Right. So let's see that error first. I'm trying to access, right? But I'm not telling where those properties are. I have created a file, but there is no link between this file with my flows. There is no linking right now. So we'll do that link. First, we'll see the error, what error it says. It will say that, hey boss, I'm not able to find this property. Okay. So let's see that error first, and then we'll fix that error. First of all, it won't deploy. So while deployment itself, it will cross-check all the connections. It will cross-check whatever properties we are referring. Everything will be cross-checked during our build itself, during our deployment itself. If there are issues with any connection, there are issues with the property linking, it will fail there itself. Okay, it won't take your code, wrong code to the deployment. Yeah, functionally, if it is wrong, then it goes. But configuration wise, if it is wrong, then it won't deploy. So now I don't have any connection. So in my properties, now let's say, go ahead and try to get, I'll say 8081 API / accounts. Okay, if I trigger this, bad request. So we need to pass this account type, if you remember properly. Hope this is still working. Loan. You can see here, everything is null, 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 null. Okay. If I go ahead and do one more thing here, I'll stop it. I'll show you.
You said
right?
it will not deployed, but it deployed, right?
Yeah. So when it won't get deployed, that scenario also I'm showing you. Right now, it's a in data view, right? Data view won't check any connections.
Okay.
Now I'll go to database. Okay. And first of all, we'll create the in global.xml. I'll go ahead and say create connector configuration, database configuration. Go ahead here and select. I'll go ahead and say MySQL database I wanted to select. Go ahead and add recommended libraries. It will add those dependencies. Come on, so many things are getting downloaded. After this, we'll see the little different syntax of accessing the same properties, okay? In data view, we are using P function, that is called property function. And in connection configuration, we'll be using different syntax. We won't be using P function at all.
Okay.
Okay. Now see that drivers are downloaded, installed on our project. Now host. I want to pass host over here, right? So instead of local host, instead of hard coding here, we'll configure those properties. How? So we'll say that dollar curly bracket, inside that we'll say db dot host. Okay, in the second. So let me copy all those things. Control C, Control V. This will be port, username, Control V. This will be username. Okay, and password, show password, Control V. Here it will be password, and finally db name. Okay, db name. Now I save this. Okay. Now see the different syntax, right? Here we are seeing dollar and curly bracket. New configuration has been added. If I say save now, okay. Now let's go ahead and try to run this process, okay. Now whatever I mentioned, right? All the DB connections, all the FTP connections, all the listeners connections, right? If you give 8081 port and if already one application is running on 8081, it will fail. It won't allow you to deploy that, right? Port binding issue it will throw. That means during deployment itself, it will check all the configurations of all the connections, whether it's HTTP, FTP, Salesforce, or database. Now it will fail. It won't deploy. Okay. Last time it will deploy because we have written that code in data view. Data view code won't get, unless it is a syntactically wrong, it won't throw any error.
Okay.
During runtime, we'll try to see those properties, right?
Okay. So what is the use we need to write that properties in data view?
So sometime you wanted to have from the different environment, right?
Okay.
So when you are deploying it in the dev environment, you wanted to have those properties from dev environment. If you hard code there, right? It won't go for the environment specific code. Whenever you have environment specific requirement, you'll go with that, right?
Okay. Yeah.
It's failed. Now see. Okay. And if you see the error, it will show you the error. Error.
Can we Control F and find them?
Could not find a configuration property. First property itself db host C. Right? And why this is showing? Because that db connection is getting tested. Okay, that's the reason it's failing. That's the reason it's not able to see that.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay. Now what we are going to do is, now we need to give this connection. Where this property is, that connection we need to give. How will do it? Now let's go ahead here. Where we'll go again? Now I don't want to add anywhere else. I'll go to global.xml. And in global.xml, I'll create one more configuration, global configuration. See here, there is a option called configuration properties. This one. Now I'll tell where is my property. Property file. So if you see here, dev config file is there. You'll file test config file here, prod config file here. Now which one I supposed to give? Tell me. If I give dev, always the code will prefer the dev property file. If I give test, always it will prefer the test. How to keep that switch? How to give that switch, right? So now what I'll do, okay, let me add this file. You can see it's get added. But now here I'll say, hey, during runtime, you can tell me which property file I supposed to refer. So here I can add one more property called, I say, mule.env, whatever. This is user defined, okay? You can give whatever name you want. Now what I'm saying is, hey, during deployment, you tell me which property file I supposed to refer. So based on this switch, if I pass mule.env is equal to dev, it will refer the dev file. If I pass mule.env is equal to test, it will refer test file. If I pass mule.env is equal to prod, it will refer prod file. Am I clear? Instead of hard coding that file name here, I am giving a switch. I am making it configurable, dynamic. Clear?
Yes, I was on mute here.
Okay, let's save this now. Now, with this, it won't deploy. So for right now, if running locally, we need to create one global property here. And what is the property name? Mule.env equal to dev right now. Hope that is in small case. Yes. Dev. So right now it will point to dev. Okay. Let's do this now and save it. Now with this configuration, okay, I don't have database right now. So this connection will fail. Okay. Let's see. If I say test connection fail, test connection, it will fail because I don't have database with that configuration. But it won't fail saying that, hey, I don't find that property. No. See, it's saying that got status 500 means all the properties read successfully. But since with that configuration, there is no database. That's the reason connection is failing. Okay. Okay. Save everything. If I go ahead now, if I run this, now it won't throw error for the properties. It might throw error for connection not successful. Okay, let's see and wait. So now my flows, wherever the properties are getting referred, they know where to look for the properties. So right now my code always will prefer dev property file because the mule.env I have hard coded there. While real deployment, we'll delete that property from there and we'll queue during runtime. So since this is getting deployed here, I wanted to discuss one more thing. So now let's say this is my flow. Inside my flow, I have property mule.env right now, and I have given a value called dev, right? This is the scenario right now, correct? This is there embedded inside my application code.
Yep.
Now, while deployment, we'll get a jar file. So that means inside this jar, this value is there. While deployment in a runtime manager, if I pass mule.env is equal to test, which value will get preferred? Dev value or test value?
Dev.
No. Whatever value you pass at a during runtime, that will be taken as.
Okay.
That value will get more priority. Okay. Even if you are inside those properties, this property will get high priority. So the order, if you see, right, runtime, whatever you give, that will get high priority. So this is 1. If you don't pass, it will check in the application whether the value is there. So this one is first, then second. Clear? Now one more thing is there, okay? So now I have config file, I have pom.xml, and I have runtime. So during runtime also I can pass. Now first priority is given to runtime. Second priority will given to pom.xml, and third priority will given to config.files, properties file. Now, for example, the same property, if it is defined at 3 locations, here also, so here let's say env is equal to dev. Here env is equal to test. And here runtime I pass env is equal to prod. Which one will be considered?
Prod will be considered.
Prod, okay. If I don't pass, which one will be preferred?
Test.
Test. If I don't pass it here, finally this will get preferred.
Got it.
Okay, so this is the order of priority. Okay, that's the reason I wanted to discuss this. Let's look at our console now. So again failed. Why? Let's have a look at it. So now if you go here, could not find resource, config dev hyphen conf. So what we have given? Okay. We made a mistake, small mistake. While giving configuration, you remember, I think I've deleted the forward slash. Configuration properties. No, it's correct only. What is wrong with this? So I am giving this dev. This forward slash is getting sometime. Let's see. I'm just guessing that's the problem. You remember what I did, right? Instead of backward slash, I use a forward slash. Let's see. So if you notice what was the issue? So this guy says we have that file config. Under this folder we have given dollar and we said mule.env hyphen config.yaml. Okay, we pass this property value. This got replaced, but it's not able to recognize this backward slash, and it says that config, and then immediately it's adding dev over there, and then it's saying config dot yaml. Okay, definitely this file is not there, right? This file is there. Under config folder we have dev hyphen config yaml file. So let's see why this issue is coming. Okay, so you got my point, right? So let's see now. It's getting deployed. Good to have errors. Okay, so still it's failing. YAML configuration properties only supports
string values. Make sure to have values.
Okay, so now it's able to read that property file. Now see here. Okay. Intentionally I did all these things. Now everything in your YAML file, it has to be string in double quotes. Okay, all these errors you'll also face, and you know how to fix it. Okay, save, go back to, so everywhere we need to fix it. Double quote, delete, end, double quote. Here also double quote, end, double quote. Save everything. Go to implementation. Stop this guy. Stop. Run again. So what all errors? Those are all meaningful errors. Okay. Now in .yaml file, we need to have everything in double quotes. Okay. So we give 3366, right, as an integer. That is not accepted. Okay. Backward slash was not accepted. That came automatically. We didn't add it, right? Remember? Now, since I gave forward slash, it works. Now, let's go ahead and wait for it. Okay. Now, if you remember, it throws error. But that error is for C, connection issue.
Yep.
Connection refused. I clearly told you, right? So this guy will, during deployment time itself, it will check all the connections. And this is what this guy is doing. And this tried 3 times or 5 times, I guess. Okay. Connection refused. If you see control, I'll just automatically, it's a reconnecting. Control C, Control F. Find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 times. Okay, but it deployed. Now, if I go ahead and trigger this guy, I'm able to see proper error here. Now, something is wrong with password. Let me check the property. Now, you are able to see from where it is coming. It is coming from development. Okay. So now let's look at this. Something is wrong with that guy. So get accounts db.password. 1s is missing. Okay, Control S. Now, how can I switch? Right now, it will point to dev environment, right? Always it will point to dev environment. How to switch? So we can go ahead and during runtime, we can pass the properties here itself. Okay. So let me stop now here and we'll go to runtime properties here, run configuration. Run configuration. If you see here right now, few properties are already going. These are like environment system level properties. What we'll do, we'll pass our property also here. So the syntax is -m -d. -m -d. And what is the property name? mule.env is equal to test. Let's say pass this test. Okay. Now during runtime, I'm passing it. Okay. So apply and run. Apply and run. Now, same thing when we'll deploy this to the Cloud Hub, right? In runtime manager, we'll pass that property as in whichever environment you are deploying it. That environment value will pass it here. And make sure that you are passing the same this value, okay? Dev, prod, and test. If you pass something else, right, it won't be able to pick the file. So this string, whatever string you are going to pass, whatever value you are going to pass for that property, that has to match with this string. Dev, prod, test. Makes sense, right? If you don't pass something else, right? We have given the switch over here.
Yeah, definitely.
That should match with this. Okay. So let's let it deploy and now once this is done, we'll quickly work on the secure property files. Deployed successfully. Okay, let's go ahead and try to trigger it again. See now from where it is coming. Now it is coming from test file, test property file, right? Now you understand in global property, what is the value we have? Dev we have. And during runtime, what value I have passed? Test. Which one is getting more preference? The runtime. Okay, clear. Hope you are clear with that. Okay. Now, if you look at this file, this password I cannot keep as a text. Client ID, client secret, we cannot keep it as a text. So we'll encrypt this. How to encrypt this? So let's copy this file, copy it. Okay, so since we have configured the test, we'll take the test one, copy it, go to the config. Before that, let me stop this guy. Config and paste it here. So this time what I say, hey, this is secure hyphen test hyphen config.yaml. Okay, secure hyphen test hyphen config.yaml, and this has to be secure one. So if you are interested in only password, keep only password here. If you are interested to keep all the properties in the secure property files, yes, you can keep it. Normal property, secure property, you can keep it in same file. Okay, while accessing also, it's same way we can access. Okay, let's see. Okay, so now what I'll do, we'll secure this property file. So now you don't need to mug up anything. We have tool secure properties dot, somebody deployed this code over here. It's running over here. You can take that property, you can use algorithm, and you can encrypt it. This is one way of doing it. Or the MuleSoft also gives one tool. Okay, secure properties secure properties in Mule4. Okay, so if you go and look at this documentation, they gave one Java tool to encrypt this. Okay, so you can download this tool, okay, on your machine. Okay, so it's there already. I'll say, hey, update this guy, because they'll be keep on making changes. So this, they made it in September, latest release. So what I'll do, I'll copy this, copy this jar, copy it, and we'll go ahead and put it in our config folder. Paste it here. Okay, so jar file is there now. We'll go ahead and we'll open it in the command prompt. So go ahead and say properties, open the config folder. Okay, start command line from here. Not from here. Go to config directory and then start the command line. Right? So you can see that we have the tool over here. We have dev config and test config. I'll delete this file for now because I'm going to create that file from this file. Okay. Now, what is the command we have? Let's go here. We have three ways of creating it. You can go ahead and encrypt each string this way, or we can encrypt the file values, or we can encrypt the entire file. Three ways are there. Okay, so let me pick the first one. We'll actually take the second one because we are interested in what we are going to do here is I want to encrypt these values only. So I can go ahead and take this string, encrypt it, come back here and paste it. So there is a syntax of putting that encrypted value. So we need to put that encrypted value in this format: double quote, exclamatory, and then square bracket. This is how we need to keep those property values inside the encrypted value inside the square bracket. This way we need to do, and we need to do that for each and every string. That is the tedious job. I don't know how to do that. Second approach is I'll give this file and I'll say, hey, go ahead and encrypt all the property values. So all this will get encrypted in one shot. Third is entire properties will get encrypted. Entire content of this file will get encrypted basically. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So we'll go with the second option. Okay. So now if you want to see, let me show you the first option and the second option also. Let's go ahead first. So first option is encrypted test string. Okay. So now if you look at the command Java class path, our tool. Okay. So this tool is there in our same directory. From this jar file, this is the package. This is a class secure properties tool. And this is the method we are going to use. This is the operation we are going to use, whether encrypt or decrypt. Then algorithm, which algorithm you want. Then mode, okay, and key, the encryption key, and then value, which string you wanted to encrypt. So if I go ahead and say, copy this command, okay, and let's go to the notepad. In a notepad, Control A, Control V. Hope you are clear with this.
Yes.
Okay, so Control H. I'll just say replace all. Backward, I'll keep this in single line, okay, because I'm running on Windows. If I run on the in Linux machine, that command, whatever I copy pasted, that will work. So now if I look at, see, this is the class and what we are going to encrypt. So that's a method. So that method will decide what will be the output of this command. Okay, so I'll pass the string. What is the string I want? I want to encrypt this string. So I'll go ahead and say dev admin Control C, come back to notepad, paste it here. So this is the string I want to encrypt. This will be my key, MuleSoft. You can go ahead and say add whatever key you want, MuleSoft 123. String we are going to encrypt. Blowfish is algorithm and CBC is the mode. Okay, so if I go ahead and run this command, Control C, go to the command line, Control V and enter. We'll get encrypted for string. You can go ahead, copy this, Control here and then Control V here. And you know the syntax, right? Exclamatory, square bracket, go at the end, add this square bracket. This is how you should. Okay, so manually you go ahead and do this. Clear? This is one way. Second way, Control Z. Control Z won't work here. I don't know why. Close this. I don't want to save this. Don't save. Okay. Now command line. I don't want to do this manually. I don't want to, because there will be a multiple property. I want you to do that, right? So now this time what I'll do, hey, go ahead and encrypt properties inside a file. Okay. Second option. So we'll see the command. Similar command will be, but we'll change the, if you go here, now if you look at the command, I'll say
For Windows, we need to remove this slash, right?
Yes.
How you do it that in one shot?
Yeah. I did it in one shot, right?
How you did that?
So if you go to control, see here, okay. So select that. So now I'll go back.
Oh, okay.
Control Z. And you select this part, okay. So you say this /n and then this for backward slash. Select it.
Replacement. Yeah.
And here say only space and replace all.
Okay.
Okay, I did that.
Okay.
Y. Now, same class. Now the method got changed. Now we are seeing file. Encrypt, same algorithm, CBC mode. Command, I say MuleSoft 23. This is my encryption key. And our file name, you remember what is the file name? Not Dave. Test hyphen config. Right? This is the file name. And I want the output file name, right? So I'll same file name I'll give and prefix with secure. Control V and I'll say secure. So this new file will be generated for me, secure -test -config.yaml file from my test config.yaml file. Let's have a look at it. Copy this and run this. So new file got created. If I refresh my code over here, let's refresh this guy. Refresh. You see that secure test -config.yaml. Then look at this file. Clear?
Okay. One question. This is under SRC main resource, right?
SRC main resources under config folder.
Okay. Yes. And we made the changes in the C, your C folder in the local.
No, I didn't make in the C folder. We went till that config folder. See.
Okay.
We went to that source main resources config folder. Under that jar file is there. Otherwise, if that jar file is not there in that folder, we cannot run this command. Right?
Okay.
Java-C path. We cannot run this secure-properties-tool. That jar has to be there.
Okay.
Okay. While deployment, you can delete that jar. We don't need that jar in the code. Okay. Clear? We got this file now. Now, how to access these properties? Okay. Let it be all encrypted. Okay. Even you can keep the non-encrypted file here itself. Okay. It's not any issue. So I'll just go ahead and I'll keep some non-encrypted file over there. Properties over there in the way of accessing these properties are same. Control V. Okay. Some are encrypted, some are not encrypted, right? If you have any questions whether I can keep non-encrypted properties in this secure properties or not, we can keep. We can keep both properties in same file. Control S. I'll tell you how to access these properties now. Okay. Now let's go to the implementation wherever we are accessing these properties. Now instead of saying db.host, we need to say secure : Okay. This is what we need to say when you are accessing these properties from secure properties. Is it running? No, not running. So keep on adding those. Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V. Now, whenever we are trying to access the property from secure property file, this property, it will decide whether this has to be decrypted or not on this basis. The pattern, whether there is an exclamatory square bracket is there. If that is there, then decrypt this. Otherwise, get as it is. Now, how to decrypt it? Okay, we need to tell that. What is the decryption key? How this file was encrypted? All that information we need to give. And we need to tell where these properties. Let's first do this. Save it and try to deploy. It will fail because it won't be able to see this secure properties at all. Because whenever you prefix, it will look for secure property. Now, where I can give the configuration. If I go to global.xml, if I say create, if I say global configuration, there is no configuration specific to secure properties. Okay, only configuration is there for normal properties. Configuration properties. Is there anything related to secure? No. So first we need to go ahead in our mule palette. We need to add that module. Do we have that module here? Secure? No, we don't have. So if something is not there in your palette, okay, Kunal, go
Yep.
ahead and search in Exchange.
Exchange.
Go ahead and search for Exchange. You'll find a secure properties module in Exchange. Okay. And it will give you. So select this Mule Secure Configuration Module Property Extension. Go ahead, add to your project. Finish. It will get added to your project. In the pom.xml, you'll find that dependency. Okay. There will be nothing, no operations. It's just a indicator that you're going to configure secure configuration now. If you go to configuration now, create and search for secure now, you'll be able to see secure property configuration. Hope I'm very clear on this, right?
Yes.
Okay, now go ahead, select this. Now, which file you're going to select? We are going to select
secure
.yaml file, okay, which is home star secure one, right?
Yeah.
Now again, we'll keep the, instead of hard coding here, what we'll do? We'll say dollar curly brackets. And what is that switch? Mule.env. Right? Now we can have secure property for devs, you can have secure property for test and prod. Right now we have only one, and that is enough to get the understanding, right? Clear?
Yes.
Now
but
key.
We need to keep that dynamic as well, right?
Yes. That is what we are keeping dynamic only, right? This is dynamic only, right?
No, in the mule.env file. Configuration.
Yeah, here we'll be creating more files, right? But right now it's enough to understand this, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now there is a key. Can I keep this key as it is here? No, we should not. How I can give that key? So I can say dollar curly bracket, and I can say mule dot encryption dot key, something like that. Some meaningful name we'll give. Okay, and what is the value of this? You selected this, right? This is the encryption key. This will be the value of that key, and we'll pass this value during runtime. I don't want to hard code anywhere. I don't want to give it to anyone. Okay. So how we can do that? So let's keep this guy here in the notepad. Control V. Okay. Let's go ahead. Okay. Encoding. I don't want to pass any encoding. Algorithm. Which algorithm we have used? Blowfish. CBC as the code we have used, and rest of the thing is as it is. I'll say okay. Okay. It's getting added. Okay, so now secure property is there. Now I need to create the global property. Here, Control V, and you can take this value from here as it is, or you can pass it during runtime. Control C, and you know how to pass it as a during runtime, right?
Yes.
Control V, save. Okay. Now save everything. Now go to the implementation and run it. Console. It's getting deployed. Hope I am very clear on the secure properties. Any questions so far?
Not yet, but I need to look into it again.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. So now I have 3 more minutes. So now we have these two properties, right? Mule.env. If it is in text format, if it is visible to anyone, that's fine. But how about this property? Mule.encryption.key. If I keep it is in text, there'll be a problem, right? Now I cannot keep this in code. I cannot encrypt inside the code, because if the whatever key I use for encryption, if I keep encrypted in the code, it will be like infinity loop, right? Then that key I need to encrypt, that key I need to encrypt. Okay, so I don't want to do this. So we can mask this. Okay, so something like star during runtime. Okay,
Yep.
so if you want to do this, if you want to mask this property in our file called mule-artifact.json, if you go to the code at the end, there's a file called mule-artifact.json. Here we can pass something secure. Okay, we can pass secure properties in double quote in square bracket, whatever keys properties you want to mask during runtime, you can pass those here in double quotes. Control V, not this one. This is the value actually, right? The property name, we can go ahead and pass it here. So this is the name. Control C, Control V here, and double quotes. Okay, secure properties. If you want to really see that how it looks, there'll be I just wanted to check the syntax. Mule-artifact secure properties, the name is correct. Yes. Okay, so I have changed it. Mule.encryption.key. Okay, so but let's go ahead first, run our code, and then we'll deploy. That's the final thing we'll do, and we'll see that whether this value of this key is getting masked or not. Okay.
Okay.
So
and the value which we have hard coded as a div,
yeah,
don't we need to
we need to delete those things from there.
Dynamic? Don't we need to make dynamic?
Yeah, we are making dynamic, right? During runtime, we are passing those values.
But
so when we are deploying it to the div,
if we don't want to make a dynamic there and pick up from the name, can we?
I don't understand. Just let me check this. Okay,
Okay.
so if I run this, now see your localhost 33, so normal, other properties were encrypted, and still we are able to see normal. So those got decrypted properly, and we are able to see this in output.
Okay.
Clear? This is the syntax we have used, right? This is the syntax. Okay. Now quickly, what we can do, quickly go ahead and try to deploy this code. Since I have added that property inside my artifact mules artifact.json, that property will be masked in my runtime manager. Okay, so let's quickly do that. Okay, I'll just take 2 more minutes.
No problem.
Okay, and then authentication, I'm going to select this, apply and close, and we'll try to. Okay, so let's do this and see what happens. Okay, so I'm trying to delete this property from here. Delete this property from here. That means in my code, nowhere mule.env is defined now. Nowhere in the code mule.encrypt.key is defined. Okay, save everything. I don't want this database config right now because I just wanted to show you. So everything is clean now. Save everything. Oh, it was running. And save this. Close it. It should not create any problem. Console. Console, delete this. Okay. And if I go to my runtime properties, run configuration, arguments, from here also I'll delete it. Okay. I don't want to do anything here. Close. Let's go ahead and deploy this project to our AnyPoint platform, Cloud Hub. Okay. That's the last part of this session. So we talked about normal properties. We talked about secure properties. Now we're talking about sensitive properties, which will get so this is hope I remember the password properly. Sign in. Yeah. It will give the screen. So I'm going to deploy that in dev environment. Okay. Do we have test environment? Yes, we have. I'll deploy in test environment. Okay, switch. I switch to test environment. And now here I'm going to deploy on my Cloud Hub. This is the API. In the properties now, I'll say mule.env is equal to test. Okay. And add one more property. Now this mule dot, let me copy paste. Okay. I don't want to make any hiccups over there. So Control V. And what was the property value? This was the value. Control C. Go ahead. Control V. Okay. So right now only this value will be visible. Enter. And the moment I say deploy, okay, this value will get masked. This will be as it is. Deploy. Okay. So whenever we are deploying, right, properties, this property will get checked in mule-artifact.json. I have mentioned in my code here, hey, this property is a sensitive property. Okay. In the mule dot, here I mention it. Okay. So now only this property will get masked in the UI. It won't be visible now. And you cannot get this value back in the UI. Okay. So it's getting deployed. It will take some time. Yeah, any questions?
So you said it will not visible, right?
Yeah, it won't be visible. So but your mule runtime will use it properly. The mule runtime knows how to use that, how to decrypt it, because mule runtime is using some masking algorithm. We don't know what algorithm is using. So mule runtime store that values in the runtime vault, and runtime knows how to get that value back. As a user, I cannot get it. Okay, close this window. Go back to our, I'll log into my AnyPoint platform. Okay. And log into our account. Go to runtime manager. Go to test environment. Application is getting deployed here. I just wanted to show you that, okay? The properties. If everything is configured properly, you'll be able to see. There's a normal property, right? This see now. Clear?
Okay.
Okay, but this value will be used properly while decryption. So all those secure properties which are secure, encrypted, right? this value will get used. But now nobody knows what is the encryption key we have used, except who did this deployment. Definitely that guy will have this value, right? But if somebody has access to Anypoint platform, if they come over here and if they see that, they won't be able to figure out what is the encryption key you used.
Okay.
Clear?
What if he forgot or something like that and he need to recover that?
Then you are gone.
We need to write it down at some.
Yeah. So you need to write it down, or
so we need to pass this value to our client, right?
Client. Yeah, somewhere we need to keep this in the vault, right? Client, why client we needed this value? This value. No, right?
In future, if they have any issue with this and
yes.
they want to debug the things.
Yes. Somewhere they will put it in the secured, or maybe they will be having common encryption key for day, common encryption key for test. Definitely this value has to be different for different environment. Okay, so they'll be having, and everybody will be using that key. Okay, maybe they will be having standard way, so that will avoid the confusion and the losing factor. But definitely we cannot keep publicly, right?
Yep.
Okay, so is it deployed? Yeah, it's deployed now. If I go ahead and run it, so let's copy this URL. Let's go ahead, copy this, copy link address. Go to, instead of this, now we'll say this. And if you are able to see properly, perfect, right? See?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all from this session. Hope you you got the clarity.
Yeah, definitely I need to go over this.
Yeah.
Again.